With the election coming up in 3 days, let me be more straightforward. You know, Donald J. Trump, but let me share my opinion on him, since I was a fan, until the escalator comment in 2015. Never was a fan again since then, and calling it out, becoming Yuba. By studying his political tactics, it's like this. I've come up with 7 top questions about Trump, politics and the media, you never hear answered. Plus, the answers. 1. What is Trump's prime strategy and tactics? He mostly uses racism and hate for the federal government. Plus, other tactics. Racism is America's #1 problem, in my opinion, and I've said that many of times. Then you add hate for the federal government, which is very bipartisan, which means both Republican and Democrat, both conservative and liberal agreeing on an issue. 2. What are Trump's 3 main assets? It's the 3 L's. Lies, lawyers, and loyalty. If you understand the 3, it's self-explanatory. 3. How does Trump play the media? Well, this started way before I was a fan. You have to realize, Trump was one of the only few billionaires who love appearing in the media. I think the media is the second biggest influence on your life, after the government. And the reason I watched The Apprentice at the time is because CEOs didn't like to show off executive decision-making processes or inside operations. I've been a self-employed type of guy for a while, so I was all in, even wanting to attend a real estate seminar, but didn't, because he wasn't going to be there. But I didn't research, investigate and learn enough about his background. Like his role in the Central Park Five, his experience as John Barron, and his passion to always look good and be the best on TV, gave him the ability to con the media into giving him a ratings platform. Making comments that were funny to urban America was real to rural America and entertaining to both. And subconsciously, we don't think that we often love the bad guy or the person in the film perceived as the bad guy for shaking up the system. The bad guy system shaker ends up being the hero in the end. We pay millions to see these movies and shows. Even though it's fiction, we in Hollywood has to think about it. And to top it off, he brutally goes as far as calling the mainstream media news the enemy of the people. It shook me definitely, and that's when the mainstream media slowly started fighting back. 4. What is one key effect Trump does to this country and the world that the media doesn't talk about? Or don't get, even with all these cameras and all these people watching? Just like any transition to authoritarian government, he dumbs us down, or makes us less smarter than we could be. Dumbing down, with lies and misinformation, doesn't at all make you smart, or smarter period, full stop. That's dumbing the people down, to be lied to, and ruled more easily. Throughout history, you never educated the people you want to rule. Not govern, but rule. To be fair, most politicians do this to a low degree. But Trump does it like a supervillain. So in essence, he beat them at their game, ×5, and calling them out, and doing it on TV like a hero. Mainly because, like I said, Republicans are more politically aware than Democrats. And nobody wants to be called dumb. Why come 80 million plus people don't give a, you know what he does in office? It goes back to the strategy tactics. 30% of it is racism, 25% of it is hate for the federal government, 20% of it is unscripted tactics, meaning the ability to not just talk unfiltered, but to not communicate like a politician, and more like a buddy. The big difference, these days, is the politician's standard ability to be polite to everyone, especially your party, and to respond always with lawyered, attorney, speech. Or just don't talk at all, because you are scared you mess up the speech. Cautiously speaking like an attorney, to avoid legal cases. I believe all politicians do that, except Trump. 15% of it is his ability to threaten anybody. And 10% of it is just exaggeration, using adjectives and adverbs, always at both ends of the scale. For example, the biggest, the smallest, the smartest, the dumbest, the worst, the best, and so on. 6. Why come it's so hard to get 80 million plus Americans to believe in the dangers in a Trump presidency? Well, you combine all the answers above, and the fact that Democratic voters are less politically aware than Republican voters. And that's because Democratic marketing is not as good or effective as Republican marketing. Which brings up the last question you never hear asked or answered. 7. Why do you say Republican voters are more politically aware than Democratic voters? It's like this. Conservative means being conservative. Conserving values, traditions and policies. Technology changes all of that and more, so things get old-fashioned, unimportant, and unethical, like racism. Think about it. Transportation, communication, socializing and overall knowledge is rampant up super fast and more importantly super quick. It really jump-started with Thomas Edison and electricity applications. In other words, a 98-year-old person can be older than the invention of the television. Technology is going too fast. Policies, norms, rules are changing so fast that conservatives stay actively aware of the politics changing their lives. Liberals don't pay as much attention because they are leading that change. And that change is more effective in an urban setting instead of a rural setting. So the media, and Democrats too, thought Trump was a joke, and he was good for ratings, which sponsors like so they can pay the media's billings and make them a nice profit too. But neither did the media nor Democratic Party think that they was naive to true Republican policies. But for the media he's still good for ratings. Now let's really break all of this down.